Hello and welcome to yet another Indie Game Spotlight. And today we are joined again by Dystopian Tony to go for a journey to Dystopian Down Under and have a look at the island that's become known as Monster Island. Welcome, Tony. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me again.
Well, it's been great. We loved the last one, so we were really excited about this one.
I can't wait to see what new tables you put in this one.
This one was a lot of fun. It actually, as we talked about before, I've got a plan set out for phase 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. Originally, this was planned to be an adventure book, like a module.
Yeah.
But I just kept doing research and I kept writing. And when I grabbed all my notes out of Word and started putting them into InDesign and formatting, I went, oh my God, this thing's over 100 pages. That's my first world book, done, simple. Because I laid Easter eggs for this in Vikings and Robots and Death Race Coast to Coast. That you'll find, depending on where they go, you might find raiders who live under the earth, and there are unstable portals. Ta-da! That's the first breadcrumb. The portals actually lead to, well, the nexus of the portals is in Monster Island. And then it goes everywhere. They're only interterrestrial, nothing extraterrestrial. However, there is a rocket base.
Oh.
We always like a good rocket base.
So initially, this was just going to be, like I said, an adventure module, big monsters, because I was like, what's freaking scarier than Australia? Radioactive Australia with bigger spiders that want to kill you and 20-foot tall kangaroos, right? Done, easy. And then I started digging into the lore of some of the Aboriginal, I guess I'll just say creatures. I can't think of another word right now. And the dreaming and other theories on life, how everything is interconnected. And that's what the dreaming is there's not so much a past, present, future. It's all just kind of one thing, one giant stream. And I was like, well, that's actually pretty cool. So that expanded my lore. And then I decided that I would have Aboriginal tribes that have survived the apocalypse completely in isolation on, Australia. Obviously not many survived because dinosaurs. And I broke it into 5 different tribes. Each tribe follows one of the kaiju. And each of the kaiju, while they're different types of creatures, I named them after Aboriginal mythological creatures. So to kind of keep that tie-in. All of the animals and most of the monsters, some of them I've kind of injected, but the otter-sounding ones like the Yowie and other things like that, all of that comes from Aboriginal lore. And all of the insects, plants, and animals are native to Australia. They're just bigger and scarier now. So all of the animals, plants, insects, everything is native to Australia. Only now radioactive and much bigger because it's been 500 years since the apocalypse. I also surrounded the island. So about, I think it's 10 miles out, if I recall, there's a huge mist with lightning storms and acid rain and all kinds of stuff. So when you get to the island, you're probably going to be involved in a shipwreck. Ta-da. Thus the Gilligan Island joke. All of the spiders, some of the ones I researched are just insane. I think they were already radioactive before I made them radioactive. I can't recall the name of some of them, but they'll dig into the dirt. They don't do webs.
Funnel web.
Yes,
there's one, was it? Funnel web. Yeah, because they're nasty anyway.
Yeah, they are terrifying.
They live in the dirt, and then they wait till you come out, and then they jump like 20 feet or something insane. And
they will attack. And they're like, they're coming after you.
They're huge. Oh. Of course, now they're about 20 feet, 30 feet in leg span, because,
So I take it your setting comes with a warning then.
Well, that's part of the Kickstarter I put on there. What's scarier than Australia? Post-apocalypse Australia.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
With like I said, a based aspect of mythology, of Aboriginal mythology. A couple of them I changed the animals, like there's a Godzilla type, but he's not Godzilla, and a Kong type, but he's not Kong. because I like them and they're there. So there. Warpati was a lizard creature out of lore. So I decided that's my giant lizard god. And Bakai, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Bakai. It was a kind of more like a giant Yowie. Yeah, it's horrible. Anywho, so the kaijus are all based on mythology. I have a giant gorilla, a giant lizard, a giant bat, a giant wolf, and a giant saber-toothed tiger.
Oh, nice.
Like I said, I can't pronounce these words. I have no idea, but I had fun. They're all based on some type of lore, and then I delved deeper into all the different mythological creatures. So I came up with, I keep mentioning the Yowie because for some reason that's the one that sticks in my craw. So I have I broke the creatures. So I think there's like 45 or 50 new creatures in this book.
Wow.
There's only 2 new nationalities and no new character types. But there are some new skills and new languages and things like that. So there's, I have broken into animals, insects, and then the plants I broke into carnivorous plants. They'll actually get up and go after you, and just ridiculously poisonous plants.
Hang on a minute. So are you telling me that these plants will pick their roots up like a skirt and come running after you?
Some of them, yes. Others, they will lure you in with honey-scented hallucinogens.
Yes, we know those ones.
Yeah. And then Venus flytrap you. I almost killed like 3 party members the first night we play tested because there's there's some nice moss, and they kept failing their mental resistance rolls. It's like, oh, I'm just going to sit down. It's so comfortable here. The sun is shining and nom nom. It's good times. And then, so I also wanted dinosaurs because I've never introduced dinosaurs into Dystopian Dawn. This is the first time. Same with kaiju. This is brand new. So I did also, the new rules would be movement for kaiju and certain, adjustments for stats because they're ginormous creatures that you don't want to get hit by. The players found that out. They fought one and nearly died. And then they were really freaked out when I said, by the way, that was one of the small ones. So the underneath the crust is where I'm doing Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
So, or the Hollow Lands, or whatever you want to call it. And that's what ties into the breadcrumbs that I've dropped in the other books of the portals, where some portals work, some don't. Some, hey, that guy went through it, we never saw him again. Now you know why. He went here. So how the portals work is there are places you can find them topside, and they drop you into Hollow Earth. Now getting back out is a completely different story. On the surface, there's plenty of adventures and plot seeds. I have most of it has been completely overgrown. The outer ring is a thick jungle with like 200-300 foot tall trees. The inner is, of course, a desert a la Mad Max, because it's also Australia. And then what I've done is more research. I found out that where nuclear bombs were tested in the water, it actually made coral thrive and grow. And plant and even fishes and whatnot were thriving in it because they went back to check it, 30, 40 years later, and they thought everything would be dead. They went, oh my God, it's huge. So I was like, that's a neat idea. I'm grabbing it. And so now the entire island is ringed in the Great Barrier.
Nice. So with everything that's happened, the Great Barrier Reef has basically now completely circumnavigated Australia. Yes. And then you've got anything that's been affected by the radioactive, all the radioactive creatures within that. So you've got a really nice ring fence. Then you've got your mist. And your mist. So does the mist sort of wrap around where that barrier is then?
It does. In fact, I can show you a picture.
Oh, I like pictures.
Let's see. I'll just show this one. Go to share screen. That's not it.
We need to get our Garbage Pail Kids made into a t-shirt as well, don't we?
We do.
Alrighty, can you see this?
Look at that. Yes.
Yep.
All right, so this is the core island. Let me make it a little bit bigger. And so, of course, since my sun, the sky is red and the sun is a burnt orange in Dystopian Dawn,
Yep.
naturally the waters would reflect that, which was actually brought up with one of my clever players who asked, hey, we're at sea, is the water blue? And I went, I don't actually know. So anyway, now it's red and it looks cool. So you can see the mist. I'm just pointing at my screen. So you can see the mist all around here. And it's also, like I said, lightning storms and everything. And there's a full description as you approach. So the sane sailor would avoid this.
Yes.
But the adventurers are not sane. So as you come through, bombarded by lightning and various, storms, this is the Great Barrier Reef.
Ah, so you have to get through the mist, and then, of course, if you've got the Great Barrier Reef, does some of that then come out of the water? So it's actually a shipping hazard?
It is a massive shipping hazard. The only place you can actually beach is here.
Is there?
If you make it through there. So all the rest of these, see where these are poking up? It's actually the island itself is a little higher out of the water than it used to be. So
that makes sense.
I had fun with it.
Is that due to water levels dropping on the oceans, or is there something lifting the island up?
I'm going with lifting the island because the more I read about the coral, I was like, you know what? It's already insane. So I'm just going to make giant radioactive coral, the Great Barrier Reef. So it forced it up. It also ends up creating a larger wall, so it's harder to get on the island.
Yeah.
Also harder to get off.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can. I'll show you the main map. There's a GM map.
Oh, look at those! That is brilliant.
They're
of course.
Sweet.
And you do this artwork, don't you?
This one I bought, but the other 4 I drew.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
If only we could draw, Dean.
We can draw badly.
Yeah, we draw stickman.
Yes.
Bad stickman.
You guys are actually the first ones to see this behind the curtain.
Thank you very much. We feel very honoured.
So let me go to 2-page view so I can try to find the other map.
Looking stunning.
It does, yeah.
So a lot of this is stock art that I've purchased. And that's one thing I forget I was talking with the other day. I get irritated when you hear new designers going, oh, I have to use AI because I'm on a budget. Like, no, you're lazy.
There's plenty of,
To be honest, with how much you pay for tokens on AI, you can go to some really good sites that do stock art, and you can buy a lot of stock art.
This was stock.
Yeah.
Both of these. They're 2 different artists. But that's something I recommend. And several of the artists that I met when I first started, I met on Fiverr.
Yeah.
And we negotiated, prices based then, based on what I wanted and whatnot. And all of the ones that I was working with that I enjoyed working with, there were a couple. Anyway, I'm still working with them 3 years later. I'll contact them directly, or they'll email me, hey, what do you got? And then I run the crowdfunders. The bulk of my crowdfunders go to the artists. The more money I make on the crowdfunders, the more art I put in the books. Because, I say it all the time, and I'm never going to stop saying it. I want this to be a community. We're all indies. We should be joining together.
Yeah.
I can't agree with you more. And I have to say that I love the fact that the artwork you've got in here is beautiful. Oh, I love those.
And these were, I think it's 3 artists. They had stock art packets on drive-through.
Yeah.
So, I'll buy it, but I list the artists in my book so they get credits, right? And those that you've seen online, those who want to, I'll also put their links on my website for free to hopefully drum up some business for them, and hopefully not interfere with my business, but
that is absolutely stunning. It's looking beautiful.
Thank you. So I think right now I'm probably a couple $100 in the hole, but I had fun doing it, so whatever. And that's on, hopefully I'll recoup that from the Kickstarter and then be able to commission a lot more, because you can see there are plenty of empty spaces. Here's my Aboriginals. I drew that guy. I thought he turned out
cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. Absolutely cool.
The
It was actually more
tribe.
difficult than I thought. So each tribe, you can see here, ties back. They worship one of the kaiju, and each of the kaiju have a separate section of the map. That's what I was trying to get to. That's their territory, and they don't go into the other territories, because if they do,
they'd fight.
Exactly. That calls the other one out. And the tribes, of course, they hate whatever tribe their god hates. But for the most part, the tribes are pretty ignorant of each other because they're spread out. And they're all quite primitive, because there is no tech. And their combat styles, their building styles, everything like that really reflects the type of kaiju. Like those that are following, we call her Judy, because I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Judij. You see it right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Judij. So they started calling her Judy. I was like, that's fine. The Judy tribe, they'll wear stuff anything that makes them look more cat-like, because that's the saber-toothed tiger. They sleep on furs, they live in caves, etc., etc. So each one is a unique, unique tribe. There we go, stick with that. And I also wrote them up so if the GM wants, you can let someone start the game as an Aboriginal from one of these tribes.
Because just looking at what you've got there, and Dean, it's not a table, it's a list. You've got some...
It is a list,
you've got,
yes.
Yeah, where you've got your different tribes, and you've got the -1 APP, +1 fit, +2 fright versus technology or magic. I mean, that's really nice, because that really does give each of this tribe a sort of nice, unique points, doesn't it?
And in the beginning, I described the villages and their mindset and how they hunt, et cetera, et cetera. So that's also in there. So all of that combines. And then there we go. There's all the rest of their occupations, trade, beliefs, government, views on the other tribes. And I go into detail on the dreaming.
Yes.
Which harkens back to the time when ancestral spirits traversed the land. La la la. All right. And then, like I had normally for player character creation, you have the evolution tables. Obviously, I had to make new ones.
Tables.
So I had to make new tables, obviously, because they didn't, evolve in New Rome or Sumerica. So
yeah,
the adjustments and whatnot are comparable. So there's nothing OP or whatever, but it's more the stories that are different. So, because you remember, that's part of the character creation process. If you don't like making a backstory, these 3 sentences are your backstory.
Yeah.
And if you like making it, there's your start point. And this is actually...
that is stunning. That piece there is absolutely stunning. I love that.
I'm glad you like it, because it's like, I think 4 different artists, and I just put stuff together. But I love the background, and then I was like, oh, I want a brontosaurus.
Yeah, pop some dinosaurs in. Yeah,
I wanted to pick the art that sets the vibe.
Yeah.
And
I like the red sky. You've really got the red sky showing there.
So then for this, I've rated events, and what I've expanded more on, I think it was Time Warped I started doing it on, were not just encounters, where it could be you found something, a deck of cards or a path somewhere, et cetera, et cetera. So I have an event table that leads to different types, including atmosphere. Howling wind shrieks through the air for a turn, make fear rolls, and so forth and so on. Ground rumbles as, there's a kaiju or a dinosaur stomping not far from you. So stuff that adds to the atmosphere as you're role-playing. And then different encounter tables, freak weather, because the weather changes frequently here. And then a random discovery table. There are 100 items on this table, where it could be anything from a preserved jar of Vegemite spread. Yeah, where we go? There it is. An overgrown amusement park filled with mutant vines and plants. Black rain falling over rusted ruins. So it could be anything from an aesthetic to an actual discovery, a broken robot twitching in the dirt, a tree growing through the engine of a broken car, etc., etc. So it adds more to it. And of course, if you roll a 0-0, you find a bag with 7 RPG dice. So,
Oh, nice.
so that way you can play Dystopian Dawn in Dystopian Dawn.
Very meta.
And this is, I always forget his name. I buy a lot of his stuff through drive-through. I'll have to look at his name later. Because Dean Spencer. I can't say enough good things about Dean Spencer. His prices are very reasonable, and he's fantastic. And he does a lot of black and white as well. This was a splash page, so this one, cost a little bit more, not much, but I loved it.
Stunning. It's really good. And it's nice to see action pieces.
I'm trying to get to the map. Oh, also, you can find caches of higher tech equipment, and you start finding out that there were science depots hidden and buried in Australia. They found the pulse rifle, which has made them very happy, even though you've got to wait about 3 turns for it to charge. But once it charges, it's 6d6. It is a massive amount of damage.
Well, I like that because you've actually taken sort of what I would class as history, and the fact that there's been a lot of military experimentation with Australia in the past for, not necessarily a good thing, but you've actually sort of brought that into the game, and the fact that maybe it never actually stopped. And I think that's quite interesting.
Well, there's one place they found where it is a buried lab, and they were very happy that only the small player went through the metal grate and climbed her way down into it to look around, because once they got power to the facility and realized what it was, it terrified them. They all ran away. But she found some books and logs that they were doing experiments, gene splicing, and to resist radiation and regeneration and this, that, and the other, and of course created horribly mutated zombie lizard men. So they ran out of there with a quickness, but they did find a couple completely preserved in plastic bags paperback novels. I think one was Jules Verne, because gotta have Jules Verne, otherwise I can't introduce the Hollow World, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mm.
So my Hollow Earth is kind of an amalgam of my love of Jules Verne and Edgar Rice Burroughs, as well as some of the nods to the more modern Kong and Godzilla movies. So kind of smash all that together with my own craziness. Draven heard me. He's Kong. Like Godzilla, huh?
Something was in the backpack. I don't know what that is.
That's a little ammo pouch. Here, go put it back in the box, buddy.
And the sticker fell off of the Jeep. It's not sticky anymore.
Okay, we'll glue that on later.
Alright.
So once you do get down to the Hollow Earth, you suck through a whirlpool portal type thing. It's insane. And the first thing that throws everyone off is the red sky is gone. Now it's like this odd turquoise color. And the sun is a little brighter, even though you can't actually see it. The sky is brighter, so you see like yellow streams, but you can't quite pinpoint where the light's coming from because you're in the center of the earth. And what I've done with this is there's like 5 anchor point areas, and then everything else around it is random. The terrain shifts. So one week, this is a desert, you might come back to it, now it's a lake, because the terrain is constantly moving, because I can. And you find out, if you go far enough into it, you'll find a tribe or a group of people that have actually been there for several centuries. And if you get enough information from them, you find out that they are a tribe or a group of half-elves.
Nice.
The elves booted them out centuries ago because, well, you did what with a human? Get out. So they found, through the elven magic I introduced in, I'm pretty sure it's Vikings and Robots, I introduced portal magic. And it is elven. And that also their history of trying to get back home, which they can't. They're blocked. But they found this. So the first major explorer, I think his name was Atarkus, came through, and that's what they named their little little utopia area after him, and they've lived there for centuries. They don't know that they're actually half-elves. They don't even know what an elf is, because this is all they know is the Hollow Earth, which is
It's just
full of
them,
dinosaurs.
isn't it? You just sort of, well, we're just us. We're just, so I like that. That's really nice, because you wouldn't necessarily put yourself in a category, if you like. You would just be you, and I think that really shows that well.
And it's kind of, I'll take another inspiration from Hanna-Barbera, the Herculoids. Can't help it. I love my cartoons. So that's who the main character they meet is actually based on. And so and his wife are based on the main two characters.
And I've just read at the top where you've got some hints that are coming out of Vikings and robots. So you've actually dropped hints in all of your other books that leads through to this. So if you've played your other settings, you've almost got. Would you say that this is almost like your next sort of level up area? Would you recommend people take this from sort of first level, or would this be something that you would say, you know what, as adventurers, you want to come in here as a higher level character?
I actually put that in the very beginning. This is not recommended for starting characters.
I thought so. Yeah.
I actually bring in every one of my adventure books and my campaign source adventure books, campaign/settings. I put a recommendation in the beginning of, hey, if you're going to run the show as a campaign, 3 to 5 characters, blah, 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 moderate levels of skills, etc. I do that in every one of my books. This one, I right up front, this is not made for starting characters. You can, but the GM will have to be very friendly.
Well, this is nice because you've dropped things in your other campaign books. It means it actually, you could lead on, your characters could go from one to the next, and then this is like the next one in their journey. So, I quite like the thought of like sailing through that mist of yours with all of its, you've heard of hidden treasures, and it can't be as bad as the rumors say, and you head off on the ship to go visit, and you end up shipwrecked on this island. Something like that would be awesome.
Well, I even write a hook segue launching off of Death Race, because if you get to the end of Death Race Coast to Coast, there's a huge party, and part of that is a brand new Rome / Sumerican ocean sailing vessel, brand new, and you're given a 5-day cruise, all expenses, etc., as a reward. It also ties into Vikings and robots. If you want to segue for people that help stop the war, hopefully, or else part of the planet is blown up at this point, then they are also on this, so you can actually grab characters that you've played in other ones, or hopefully all the way through.
Bring them together.
And bring them together.
That is fantastic.
5-day cruise, which, yes, Gilligan's Island joke. And I give that how this is what we did during playtesting, and I write all that up in the very beginning. And then I also give a couple other ideas of how players could get here. So, including you could stumble through one of the portals in Vikings and robots, Death Race, and the Keep on the Wasteland Border. And Keep on the Wasteland Border, there's actually a book that talks about the Hollow Earth Raiders and how they're testing and looking for portals. And there's a map that shows you where some of them are. And notes like, never returned, unstable, things like that. So I purposely dropped breadcrumbs, because I want the players and their characters to feel like they're evolving with the world, and their actions actually have repercussions, so the GM can take good, bad, or indifferent, whatever they do, and modify their own campaign. That's why I don't write things in a railroad set manner. I write open-ended. So here's a backdrop. Here's some ideas for the GM. Here's some random tables. GM, take it and make it yours. And that's by design. And since we're on that, in Vikings and Robots, they fight a mummy, and they crack the safe. There's actually, the clues are all over the floor, but if they find it, crack the safe, because I like adding clues into games or puzzles. They find papers referencing an unknown place called Australia and something called Project FarQuest. So there's your first breadcrumb. You have no idea what it is. But as you proceed, there's a few. You might find another note here or another part of a book or a log somewhere, like you find it in the science lab. Like such and such box was shipped to the FarQuest facility. Things like that. And what this was a rocket site. And yes, it's based off Farscape because I love that show. And it was also in Australia.
It's an awesome show.
It is an awesome show.
And in Australia.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was.
So what I did is this also leads into, like I said, this Monster Island is my first book in what I call phase 2. So this launches the next era. One of the next book after this will be Dystopian Mythos, and then Dystopian Space, which is terraforming Mars, whole nother story. But those were the breadcrumbs lead to, I'm pointing over here. There, I'll just do this. To this. There's one rocket here. It has no power cells. There's the dead captain and crew. It looks like raiders got here, et cetera, et cetera. But if they're able to hack into the computers, they can find the logs as what they were doing and realize that there was a plan, and maybe some people did escape the apocalypse into space. And then I leave notes in here for the GM. Hey, if you want to, let them go on an adventure to find power cells, et cetera, et cetera. The book's not written yet, but rock on. And you can launch them into space. Where's my picture for that? There you go.
Oh, cool.
That's some classic art. So, and I give all, like I said, there's plenty of tidbits, to boldly go. Where this goes from here is up to the GM, et cetera, et cetera. And then the Hollow Earth, here's your full background, radiation levels, the whole 9 yards. You find out that the Hollow Earth was actually caused by a combination of the apocalypse and all the residual radiation, and then centuries later when the Fae got involved and started bombarding parts of the planet with magic. It had to go somewhere. So it sunk in and created this pocket nexus in the center of the planet that has random, sometimes fickle, portals to other parts of the planet. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, that's Monster Island in a nutshell. And then what I did is there's obviously separate encounters and more tables for Dean in Hollow Earth. And then
Dean's counting them, he's going to be going, so I count X number of tables type scene. I can see him. He's going to be there doing the little sort of 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'll have a counter in the final video because just counting up the tables.
Well, the tables are either for random stuff because no one wants anything to be concrete, right? You got to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And character creation.
Yeah.
So there are areas I've written up where there are encounters that are already written up. But then, of course, I inject the random loot drops, which I expanded in the creature catalog. Certain places like the cache boxes you find, I specify here's a different, you might find a rifle, you might find armor, maybe it's a Geiger counter, maybe it's a jar of Marmite or Vegemite or something. But this is the Autarchus. That's the other nationality. And like I said, they don't know it, but they are centuries-long descendants of half-elves. So if the GM wants to let them...
I love the life finds a way player's choice on this list. I think the fact you've got dinosaurs on the island and then you've got that life finds a way, fantastic. That's just, love it.
Every one of my books, there is some type of nerd call out. There has to be because it's me.
That's a classic nugget. I love it.
And then you asked earlier, so these are the NPCs. Skolar is the guy they beat, the jungle guide, et cetera, that may or may not bring them here. I actually have a whole write-up, based on reaction rolls. And if the PCs attack him, they're in for a bad day. If they try to befriend him, that's what's actually going to save their bacon and help them leave Hollow Earth. And they may or not, there's portals that could pop them back up to Monster Island, or portals that could pop them to New Rome or wherever the GM wants to take them. So this also serves as where you want to go next, Game Master. It's up to you. New skills, because you got to have new skills and new styles. And then these ones that are on white, I did this to be GM friendly. I took the tables, team tables, and I put them with no background. So that way you could, easily photocopy these and take them out of the book without having
You
to
actually stick them on your DM screen.
You could,
Exactly.
yeah.
Have you thought about? Have you got a DM screen where you put your bits and
Absolutely.
pieces on there for?
Yeah, we saw it in the first interview, if you
Yeah.
remember. Yeah, it was good. Lots of tables on that. That was wonderful.
So
It was a
here's
good screen.
Thank you. The wooden screen was actually I can't remember the guy's name. I had it made.
Yeah, that's right.
On the back, it's got Dystopian Dawn, and it has my core map of North America on it. That's burnt into the wood, and it's pretty cool. It's got magnets and whatnot. Did I give you guys one of the PDF GM screens?
Might have. I've got so much stuff in different folders now. I'm not sure. I will double check.
Okay, if not, let me know. I'll shoot you a link for a free one.
Oh, cheers. Thank you.
I did. I gave you guys the core, right?
Yes, you did. Thanks.
Yes, yeah, we've got that.
All right. So this
And
is
I won a couple of your giveaways as well, so I had those as well.
I like giving stuff away. I like getting people playing my game. It makes me happy.
Yes,
So this is the GM's map.
lovely.
So as you can see, here's, you got to have a sexy legend. You got to have a scale, right? And it also brings it in perspective just how big this island freaking is.
Oh, it is. It's massive. Yeah.
So these are the villages named after each of the kaiju.
So
And
can I just
then-
check something?
Sure.
Would you mind just scrolling down again a little bit? So I can see the legend. So where you've got, say Bangu, and you've got the buried site, and then you've got the village on top. Are all of these villages, are they underground, or are they also
No,
on
this
top
is-
of the ground and also have buried ground underneath?
The villages are all on top, but most of them are cave series, or a series of caves and tunnels. So if the GM wanted to expand them, they can, but that's where they live. The village, I think I put like maybe 100 people in each village, so they're not huge. But it's there on purpose. So if the GM wants to expand those, maybe one ends in a portal, maybe it goes underwater, it's there. But I purposely just wrote up what the villages are, what the tribes are like, and I leave that open. These are key locations that are written up in the game. So you've got an oasis. Obviously, you find water and food. This is an abandoned gas station that, depending on which angle you come at it, there is a very large dinosaur sleeping in the garage bay. And these are the cache points. So there might be weapons, there might be armor, who knows, could be food, but there's a couple of them. So these are ones that I've purposely put on the map. So you will at least encounter a few of these. The rest are up to the GM if they want to add more. And then this is the dinosaur graveyards, which can be incredibly deadly or incredibly just scary as you're going through the eerie silence. And then maybe in the distance you hear a T-Rex. You okay?
Yeah.
Frightening to me.
And then this is this and this are metro.
That's where you can go.
Yeah.
That's where you've got sort of a subway that goes underneath. I glimpsed earlier the subway table for your creatures that you can find down there.
And that's also where delving into that is where you should be the first time you find a portal that leads you into the Hollow Earth. Like playtesting, I was trying to get them to come over here because they landed here, found this, kind of meandered around, went, oh, desert, no, run away. Came back around here, and they befriended after killing the kaiju, Judy, Beth, who's a
Killed
very
the
powerful.
poor little kaiju.
Now it's a kaiju zombie.
Oh no.
Yeah, she's evil. I love her. So Beth's character Dahlia, she's like, I'm dumping all of my magic pool, and I am animating that giant beast to be my friend. I'm like, well, I can't say no. And so she did. And of course, some of the other players, they role play along with it, and NPCs like, get that thing away from me. There is something wrong with you. But in doing so, the villagers had all come up to attack them because they saw their deity. But then their deity stood up and like stood right next to the evil little midget multicolored no hair wizard. And of course, reactions, they drop, and obviously she is the mouth of Sauron. And so they befriended them, healed their wounds, because that kaiju nearly killed half the party.
Yeah.
I think it was like something like 3d8 plus 25 for a paw. It's a massive amount of
hefty.
damage. So they befriended them, and in there they actually got to learn the language. A couple of them who had points left now speak a smattering of Aboriginal. So they're able to communicate. They learned a little bit of lore. They now know where there's a few key areas, and all the hints were like, don't go east because these guys are cannibals. They're bad. Okay, we hate them. So the party, instead of taking my clues of go west because I want to test out my garage, went east.
You should have told them not to go west. Do not head to this garage. Do not go there, and they would have.
I mean, it was enough hints where the villagers were like, hey, we think we saw stuff that's shiny like that stuff, because, they don't know what metal is, right? Yeah. And, that way. No. So
players do what players will, and sometimes players wander in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And in the right direction. In her brain, she was going to take her zombie kaiju into this other kaiju land and wipe these people out because they're their enemies. And I'm like, well, that's one way to justify being a murder hobo. Fine. And but even though I dropped like 14 hints of the kaiju don't cross boundaries. So even in his undead state, it stopped. Unfortunately, it stopped, and they happened to find the metro subway entrance. Dun, dun, dun. And of course, it can't fit. It's a 20'5" tall at the shoulder saber-toothed tiger. So they're like, I guess I got to leave Judy here. And they go into the subways. So it's been several days. So Judy has wandered back here. And now there's an undead kaiju protecting her territory. Yeah, you got to love players. Some of the stuff you just can't make up. You just kind of go, okay. So there's this is behind the curtain, and I purposely only wrote up about 8 or 10 really core areas on the top, and I think about 6 or 8 on the bottom or in the middle. So but again, with enough, you guys have seen my books. I'm very much, hey, here's some ideas, run with it, and I did that on purpose because I want a GM to come into this and go, okay, cool. There's places they can go, but I have all of this, all of this, all of this, all of this to make my own.
Yeah, they make it their own. Yeah, I like that.
So there you go, the peek behind the curtain.
Oh, thank you.
Well, that's really exciting. And so I'm going to ask you a little bit. So we've actually covered an awful lot.
Yeah,
so I'm going to ask you a little. No, you don't jibber jabber. You talk lovely. And because we did such a deep dive on the main core rules, and none of those have really changed, have they?
Not really. The one thing you'll find is the radiation level is actually lower. And if they dig into it enough, they'll find out that it's because the gigantic foliage has actually absorbed it, and the coral has absorbed it. So you're getting, there's still residual radiation, but not nearly like you would get in, say, the Nether, or even in Paradisium, especially. Because like all the creatures that have been created, Hollow Earth, that's also, the dinosaurs came up from Hollow Earth.
Ah, right. Okay.
So, And I actually explain how they came to be, and nuclear bombs, a la Godzilla, ta-da. And that's how they came to be. Sorry, but yeah, I do give changes for, like I said, radiation, but the core rules remain the same.
Yeah.
There's no new character types, not for this. Excuse me. The next book, Dystopian Mythos, I think there's 10 new character types and like 15 new nationalities, 2 races. So you've got the Fae and the humans, and each one has territorial. Well, one has territorial, the other is, it's Fae. There's 50 different flavors. Where was I going? Anyway, I was going somewhere.
You were thinking about any changes or anything additional? Yeah.
Yeah, no core changes other than I give an explanation as to why the portals are actually here. And it does add more lore to the Fae that you got a lot of in Vikings and Robots. If you befriended the Fae up in Sumerica, this adds to that and adds a whole new level with the half-elves. And knowing that some of them have actually been ostracized from their own people on the planet, not just from their home realm. So the portals are a big new mechanic. And also the kaiju mechanics, because I have to give, normally your movement is based on your fit score, your fitness. That's how many yards you move in a turn, or meters for y'all.
It's okay, we still do feet and yards and everything because it just makes more sense.
Long live the king, right? Sorry. I had to add, obviously because of their gigantic size, new rules for their movement. So while their fitness might be, say, 14, which is still astronomical, their movement is more like 30 or 40 because they're 30 feet tall.
They got very long legs, big legs. Yeah.
And so I had mostly what I added to this was lore. As far as mechanic goes, there's new skills, and a lot of them are primitive skills, so low-tech skills, which was a different approach from my other books. And new creatures, new lore. The dreaming is, I don't care. The dreaming as a new element of not so much mythology, but their whole core concept of belief of the Aboriginals. So it's something that gets added to the myth and lore of the game as a whole. So now you have more options. So not a lot of mechanics changes. I try to avoid adding new mechanics. I try to, try to avoid changing mechanics. I'll add stuff. Like Compendium Volume 1 is an amalgam of all the new stuff that was added from the 8 books into one key reference. So did that answer that?
I think it did. What I find quite fascinating is it's a very low-tech environment, and yet some of the treasures are incredibly high-tech. And I love that kind of mix. The natives and everything is very low-tech, very, sort of shrouded in mysticism.
So why don't we delve a little bit into the Kickstarter? So, Tony, when is the Kickstarter going out?
I believe this video is coming out Tuesday, right? So 2 days later,
correct.
on Thursday the 19th is the launch. So the timing is impeccable. It's
fantastic.
That's really great. So you've got this wonderful behind the scenes, and any chance we can take a sneak look at the Kickstarter page, what it looks like?
Absolutely. I will show you my view. One other thing I want to throw on the Kickstarter, it's not just for Monster Island. There's also 3 brand new adventure modules.
It's very exciting. Let's delve into it. Let's delve into it.
Last year.
Yeah.
I'll share the screen. Can you see this okay?
Yep.
Okay, sure.
There we go.
All right, so this is my view. Obviously, this plays the video.
By the way, guys, because I've had a look at the Kickstarter, watch that video. It is fantastic. I have never chuckled as much as when I watched that. I think I've watched it already about 3 or 4 times. So honestly watch that video, right? And it will give you a real insight into the mind behind Dystopian Dawn.
Now you just terrified her when they're going to run away. Because that guy's crazy. So what I do with this is, in the beginning, you've got your overview of what it is, which we've covered in depth. So I'm going to scroll past this quickly. This is not the cover art, obviously. This is actually a page from the book, which you saw. And then what I'm also adding is 3 new adventure modules. I wrote these in pieces last year, and I play tested them at the Tucson Comic-Con, at RinCon, and TusCon, the sci-fi convention, as well as some online. So there's still a little finesse to go into each of these. And I'm actually, next Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to be running Bug Hunt at a local comic shop, or local game shop, sorry, here in town.
Fantastic.
Called Rising Sun Games. So these were fun. Again, these are adventure modules. They're probably 30 pages or so, give or take, when all is said and done. But part of the Kickstarter is also raising art for these books too.
Brilliant. And these adventures, they take place on the island or Hollow
No.
Earth? No.
These have nothing to do with Monster Island. These are all in North America. However,
right. So yeah, you can
one-
expand your North America offering.
So this one is a new farm area right near the border of Alamex and Paradisium. And then this one, which can tie into Cowboys and Mutants, it can tie into Death Race, it can tie into several of them, or it could just be its own standalone thing. The Rat Band of Crash Point is set in Haven, which can easily be tied to Death Race Coast to Coast. What Bug Hunt is there's a farm that's plagued by these horrible creatures. People are being taken tonight. Crops are dying. There's one dude, well, he's a druid, you find out, and like a small family that are still living there and hiding. And hopefully the party is not cold-blooded, and they go to find out what's plaguing them, or else the adventure ends there. Have a nice day. But you go into the caves that are heavily irradiated, and you find these crazy ant-like creatures. It's very much inspired by Alien. So you've got mutant ant people things, and as you delve deeper and deeper into fighting them, yes, there's a queen who's dropping eggs. There's, you'll probably find bodies along the way. You might find a shotgun, blah, blah, blah. And if I added a separate section for if you want to expand, you find out there's a mad scientist behind the whole thing.
It's fantastic.
So
you've got
Go ahead.
So you've got the 3 of those adventure modules, which are really great.
And this one can tie directly to Monster Island, because in this, as you can tell from the map, hopefully you see it well enough, this is my homage to the classic Keep on the Borderlands.
Yes.
But it's Keep on the Wasteland border, and I flipped the script. So the keep was actually built by non-humans, ogres, orcs, etc., and they are under attack by human raiders from the Hollow Earth. So do you join these semi-friendly ogres, lamias, etc., or do you join the raiders? Excuse me. And of course, like you have the Caves of Chaos, I think it was Caverns of Chaos, I think it was called in the Keep on the Borderland. So you have these caverns that are heavily irradiated initially. Once you get past that, it's not as bad. And you start finding out that they being the raiders, are setting up staging areas because they like the keep. It's already built. Why not kill everyone and take it, right? It's a great launch pad that no one knows of. It's not supposed to exist. So no one in the surrounding area knows it. It should be you stumble on this on complete accident and then be terrified by the eloquent ogre who likes to read. Dun, dun, dun. So that was a lot of fun and tongue-in-cheek. They also do ride giant lizards. They're corralled inside the caves and all kinds of craziness. And there is a portal. And the portal can lead to somewhere else on North America or Monster Island. And if you kill the captain or stealth and sneak and steal or whatever you do, you'll find their book where they've been tracking the different portals. And now after that came out, I updated the map. So if you see like a HE on the new map, those are Hollow Earth portals.
Beautiful.
So now you can actually take this and segue straight into Monster Island if you want. Ratman
It's
of
really
Crash
clever.
Point. Thank you. I had fun because I'm a big Batman fan. And so it's not the hero the city needs, it's the hero the city deserves. You start finding out that the local watch, the night watch, is being attacked. Now, are you the type of players that care and look into it or not? But eventually you also start finding out that there's people that are being reverse robbed. So somebody was robbed, and the next night, all of their stuff showed up on their windowsill. And you find out that there is one guy who's jumping out of the shadows, beating up the corrupt government, and then sneaking away. Underneath that, there's another layer of intrigue because it's rare that you see mutants in and around Haven, because Haven is the Motor City Madhouse. You know, it's My Idiocracy meets Waterworld Smokers type location, Mad Max.
Yeah.
They've been ostracized. So the mutants are actually living in the sewers. And this guy is, obviously, he has mutations, and he's helping them. So when you get down to there, now inject the sewers of Demolition Man, right? Got to go more sci-fi tropes. And you've got rat burgers in the whole 9 yards. And this little community of very friendly, though terrified and paranoid mutants. Do you help them, maybe leave the city, or do you start a rebellion? Dun, dun, dun. Completely up to the players. Have fun with it. Or do you turn the mutants in for bounties? You know, there's also that angle. So that's what those are. And those are you can also buy these. And then the big bonus, this is an early bird. So whoever, as long as you pledge within the first 72 hours, you can get print and digital of the first ever solo adventure.
Ooh.
And it costs $1 because Kickstarter won't let me put anything on there for $0. So it's $1 for a print book and digital book. And this is my first solo adventure, so I'm writing it. I've been doing a bunch of research. I actually bought an old DC Heroes solo adventure so I could see how the layouts and the formats and everything go, just for an idea. That, and I really like
Nice.
Jonah Hex. So, and I figured I would use one of the characters from Cowboys and Mutants, who is also one of the characters that was published in a story, Gunsmoke and Hexes, late last year. So actual, but not gaming, an actual anthology. So you can play as him, or you can make your own character, and you're going on collecting bounties, traveling across the Southwest, the Alamex, the Old West Dystopian Dawn style. So that's what that is. And what is Dystopian Dawn? If Fallout and Skyrim had a baby and raised it in Borderlands. I still love that quote.
It's
I
good.
wish I had come up with it. Give the overview of what the system is, plus a link to the free download. Draven, please stop doing that. Dystopian Dawn Light. So there's the link to grab it for free. There's also an old overview video I did of Dystopian Dawn. And then I go over the current library of the core books, the compendiums. I'll come back to those guys. So this is my current library. You notice this last one is a weird purple-blue color. I say blue. My wife says it's purple. I'm partially colorblind, so she's probably right.
I see it as
going to be-
purple. Yeah.
Same.
So you're all wrong and I'm right.
Yes.
Well, that's the way it always worked.
Yeah, I always have to ask her because, again, if you ever see me wearing green or red, it's because my wife bought it for me. So anywho, this is going to be the color scheme for all of Phase 2 books.
Lovely.
So Phase 1 is all black, but from now on, if I do, I'm sure there'll be additional compendiums down the road. They will all be in green. So this will be I've set my pattern for the future.
That's really nice.
Let's see, I can go over the rewards. Would that be helpful?
Yeah, I think go over the rewards, and then you know what I think would really help people, because I think people like to know what is it you're raising money for? And I know we've sort of alluded to it throughout the interview, but I think it'd be really good if you just sort of went through, what this will actually cover and what it allow you to do. And because I think people sometimes don't fully understand the amount of effort that goes into creating something like this, and they don't understand what it means to get artwork and stuff like that. So if we just sort of run into that a little bit, that'd be really good.
I'll happily cover that. There's a section called What's the Goal?
Excellent.
As an indie game creator, I use crowdfunding. I'm not going to read this. I use crowdfunding to pay artists, to buy artists. Oh, that was horrible.
Ooh, Tony Dark.
Tony Dark, here is my artist. I keep
They
them,
all belong to me
in this little box.
Yes.
They're allowed out occasionally to draw.
And then thrown back in their cages. Pick up your pencil. So I've been, this will be my 6th crowdfunder since I launched in 2023. Every time I do a launch, it's always for more than one. It's usually for more than one book. Because I'm always writing. And I do this, the bulk of whatever I get goes to the artists. The more money I raise on the crowdfunders, the more art I can afford to commission.
Yes.
And the smaller the pieces, the less it costs. The larger the pieces, the more it costs, and so forth and so on. I've got a scale that I work with artists. They work within my budget. And we go from there. Because this pays for the cover art for all 4 books. And a lot more interior art, because right now the game adventure books, those 3 have very limited art in them presently. They're not big books. But I left a lot of monsters and stuff blank on purpose because I want to commission Roman and Decorafus and even Patty for some of these. Patty is actually, he owes me a piece. We have a deal. Patty will be doing at least one piece in one of these books, probably in Monster Island.
Awesome.
And so that's what I use, the bulk of what I use it for is art. And then obviously I got to pay for my publishing, I got to pay for shipping and a little bit for marketing. I don't think I've ever made more than $500, probably more like $400. It's probably the max I've ever actually made when all was said and done. And that includes, I think my first one was $5,000-$6,000 for the core books when I first launched. And I don't mind. I like putting it back in. And I'm
labor of love, isn't it? It's an absolute labor of love creating a tabletop role play game.
Oh, it is. It is. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. One day I hope to actually make money, But when I do these, the bulk is I want the book out, and I want as many people involved as I can get. So the more money I raise from this, the more food that the artists I know can buy and survive.
I absolutely get that.
And one key thing, there is 0 AI art or AI writing or anything in any of my books. I don't allow it.
It's all human curated and created. I love it.
So then we'll go into, I also have stretch goals that, who knows. If we make it to 2,500, I think the initial goal is 18. That's a lot more art. I'll dump all of that into the artists. And anyone who backs it, they're going to get a special print of a new creature, new character, whatever, something from one of these new books that will either go, if they've only done the digital, they'll get a digital version. If they've done the physical, they'll get a physical signed print.
Beautiful.
That I don't, it's not like print off my machine. I order it and have it printed on special thick paper. They're really nice.
It's really, really good.
And then also looking at, I'll probably throw in a few digital bonuses like the GM screen, maybe some character sheets, stuff like that. Really depends on my mood. I like giving free stuff away because I figure the more I can give, maybe that'll entice someone to come back and buy something. And more importantly, it'll entice people to play the game and spread the gospel.
Yeah.
If I hit $3,000, what I plan to this is something I've been looking at for a while, but it is not going to be cheap. And it's going to be a lot of work on my part. New covers for the player's guide and the GM's guide. So completely new cover art. and I'm going to completely overhaul the layouts of both books. Because when I first did this, I was learning. I mean, I'm still not a pro. I'm still learning, but I was teaching myself the basics of InDesign. And so I bought a interior template and modified it a little bit here and there, but honestly, it was rather restrictive. So the 2 core books as they are now are not the exact thing that I really wanted. I like them, don't get me wrong. I love my books. But over the years, I've learned new tricks. And now I have a massive library of artwork that I can use. So this will be a purely aesthetic overhaul if we reach this goal. And what I'll do, if we hit this, anyone who's ordered the physical core books, you'll have the option of the original version or this version for your print. And everyone will also get a digital copy of the new ones for free.
It's absolutely fantastic.
And so that's what's in it for you. Also, they'll get credits as super backers in the book. And then if I go 5K or more, I'm making custom stuff. So this is a custom t-shirt that I'm making just for this Kickstarter.
That's cool.
And also a custom RPG mat. And this thing is like 20 inches. It's big.
Wow, that is big. Yeah.
So if I reach $5,000 free t-shirts for the first 100 people, I'm being optimistic. If I reach 6 free mats for the first 100 people, and then if I go beyond that, well, hell, I'll do a poll and see what everyone wants. Maybe people want GM screens, or people want koozies or something. Who knows? So Swagamania, and the rewards.
I like that name. I like that name, Swagamania. That's phenomenal.
I will happily share with you. So I've kept it simple this time. There's I made a mistake when I was using BackerKit for the Vikings and Robots, Death Race Coast to Coast, and the 3 compendium books. I went a little overboard with just the massive amount of rewards, and I think it was too much.
Yeah.
Where there was like, I think 20 choices, and you get buried in it.
Yeah.
So I try to learn from each of these, and I kept it to, I think there's 9 now, where 1 is a softcover print of the book. Oh, also every print edition in this Kickstarter, you also get the digital for free. So mega bonus. Option 2, I ran a poll on this recently, and everyone was 100% or almost 100%. They want a hardcover.
Yeah.
So $10 more, I'll throw in the hardcover option. You still get the digital free. The Adventure Trilogy, if you just want the 3 adventures, you'll get those 3 adventures in print and digital for $60, which is a damn good deal. Custom Character Creator, I like doing these. This is, I'll work with you to create an NPC or sometimes a monster, and then the backer gets to choose which of the artists. I'll give them, examples of the artists that are on board for this, that they get to pick. That person will then, the artist draws that, they get the bulk of this money goes to the artist. I think I make like $5 off this. The artist gets the money, and then I do the layouts. I work back and forth with the backer to create how that character would actually be part of the story, and including edits. And some of them I'll edit random encounter tables and inject this new NPC, or you just find them along the way, etc., etc. We'll work out the story, but it becomes part of the lore for all time. And your name goes in the book, right under it, submitted by, as well as in the credits. And you'll get a sexy print of that creation, signed, sent to you with your order. And then the one up from that is the you also of course get a copy of Monster Island in the normal softcover print and digital. So you get the whole enchilada, plus you're now immortalized. And then there's the hardcover version for $10 more because it's the hardcover. All for One is just the 4 new books: Monster Island, the 3 adventures, all in softcover print. Just thank you, plus digital. Let's see, the player bundle, the player bundle. If you've never played before, this is everything you could possibly need. Player's guide in hardcover, nice, and plus digitals of everything. The Compendium Volume 1, the dice bag and set with the Lich, of course, because he's awesome. The player screen, and a soft foldable dice tray with snaps.
Nice.
Everything you could need, again, plus all the digital versions of these books for $120. And
That's a
then-
bargain.
These are shipped anywhere in the world?
Yes. If they're shipped overseas, obviously it's a lot more because, damn, that I have no control over that.
No. So any shipping's added on top at the point that you do the dispatch? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, I would never be able to eat.
No, I completely understand. It's nice to know where you stand when you're looking at this. So you know if you know potentially, and it's difficult, isn't it? Because people want to know, well, how much is shipping going to cost? Well, who knows at the
with
time?
each item, I actually include the shipping to overseas and the shipping for stateside in the descriptions.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that shows up in Kickstarter because they've changed their format. I got to admit, I like the new format. It's a lot better than a couple years ago. It was the last time I used Kickstarter. It's much more intuitive than it was before.
That's good.
That is good.
All right. Then the custom cameo. This is on top of creating a new creature, character, etc., etc. This is, I'll work with you to create you as a character in the book, becoming part of the lore, etc., etc. And you pick an artist to draw you as that character, and you also get your name in the credits, the whole 9 yards.
It's awesome.
Each of the custom ones, there's only like 5 of each. I think there's like 10 slots total for all 3. Otherwise, I would never get this done.
Yeah.
So, and then if you just like digits, loading, every single book, character sheets, GM screen, and the also have disc tokens. It's a virtual tabletop token set. I think there's like 50 or 60 tokens in it. So for $165, you get 19 books, including the solo, the fillable PDF character pack, GM screen, and a token set. So that is also a ridiculous, that's a huge discount from what I actually priced them on my website. And then the big one, if you want it all,
Miss
you can
Phyllis
run the
needs
world.
There you go.
So this is the Game Masters everything, including Monster Island, physical and digital of all the core books, the compendiums, the sexy, I don't have one in here, the new physical dice boxes I've got.
I've seen those. You've shown them on X. They look absolutely awesome. Look at this. That is cool.
They look amazing.
And they're all magnets. What are they
I
made
like
of?
the stuff with magnets. I do like that. It just seems to work well, doesn't it?
Well, I like that it fits together too. So when you take the top off,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
either
I'd
really good
lose
job.
it.
and this is another, going back to what we were talking about before about finding sources for stuff for indies. That's a guy I met on Etsy, and we just started talking about things, bounced designs back and forth. And as you see, these are, it's printed into it. It's not a sticker.
This sneak preview of what your Kickstarter is going to look like has been fantastic. Personally, I'm really looking forward to it. I can't wait for it to go live and to help you achieve your target of $1,800, but with some really good stretch goals that I hope you hit.
Me too.
Yeah.
One of these days, I'd love it if we could actually work out a time zone that we could game together.
Yes, we will have to. We'll have to.
That's. I believe we've said we would like to do a one shot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
But it's trying to find that time slot to do that.
Because I'd love to do one. Maybe we record it where we're doing Dystopian Dawn, and then I'd love to be a player in yours.
Yes.
So if we can ever figure out a time on that, I'd love it. I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
we will sort out getting some things in the diary. We are going to start pulling together our one shots timetables coming up soon, which is going to be really interesting because we are going to actually schedule different one shots at different times, so that Dean basically doesn't need to sleep. I don't believe in
I'll stay up for
scheduling.
48 hours and just
Yeah. I'll schedule it in and he'll do as he's told. Where did that come from? And what we'll do is we'll actually be having quite a few time slots so that we can fit people in at different time zones, because I think that's important. But what we would like to do is sort out a lovely time where we can play Dystopian Dawn. That would be great fun.
I'd love it. So, like I said, if we can work that out, I will make the time. Of course, it's not 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that to you.
Yeah. But thank you so much, Tony. You've revealed, pulled the curtains aside. You've revealed what's behind them, and I think this is an exciting project. I can't wait to get the word out there, get people excited for this, and hopefully get a few more people following, and then on the day, getting those pledges coming in. So thank you, Tony. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure, Dean and Vicky.